You think if I texted Rose or Sonnet, they would even respond to me, even if it wasn't about soccer?
I am sick and tired of Rose Lavelle not answering my text messages. Should we just call her right now?
Yes. Yeah, get her on that line. Oh my God, she answered. Hi, and welcome to Good Vibes FC. I'm Lynn Biyendolo, coming to you from the Seattle Rain facility because I have no Wi-Fi in my home. So that's why I look like I'm in a white box, because I'm in the coach's office and I can't possibly give away our tactics.
Oh my gosh. I'm Sam coming to you from the Women's Game World Headquarters in Vermont, where I usually am. Good Vibes FC is presented by our best friends over at Olipop. Today on the podcast, we are going to recap last Friday's Challenge Cup and look ahead to the NWSL season starting in just 3 days. I repeat, 3 days. We'll also discuss how to get more eyeballs on the NWSL, both on TV and in person. Lynn and I both have some amazing, groundbreaking ideas. Then we've got an email from Katie about 9 to 5 jobs that I can't wait to get into. But first, Lynn, what's up?
My mom was here. She just left today.
Was she just here for a visit?
She was here for a visit and to help me move into my new house.
Your new house. That's exciting.
Yeah. So the movers came and dropped off everything. And she was just being a mom, helping me, wanting to see the place, wanted to see where I live, obviously, and what I'm doing. And I got a lot of stuff to move in now. There's a lot of boxes.
Lynn, still on the move. Did you and your mom do anything special?
We went to some coffee shops. She came to the facility to see, again, where I work. Nothing really, honestly. We didn't do much, but we were just being mom and daughter.
Well, that's really, really nice. I am so glad that she was there to help you move in. I hope that you're starting to feel a little bit more settled, because I know that Marley is returning to you in less than a week.
Oh my gosh, just a week as of today.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough about me. What are you? What about you?
Well, not much is really going on with me either, Lynn. And I did have something very specific that I wanted to talk to you about right here at the top of the episode. And it was this video that we saw yesterday of the Seattle Rain Traitors game. And I've been begging you to watch Traitor so that we could discuss it on the podcast. But alas, you never listen to me. And you do not take my recommendations seriously. So I hear that you have lost the team game.
Okay, first of all, that's not true. I don't have any Wi-Fi. I don't have any ability to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
The Traitors Seattle edition. I got bullied. Today's youth bullied me.
I assume that they watched Traitors, so they were playing chess and you were playing checkers. That's what I assume happened.
No, you touch people's sweatshirts one time and they think you're a traitor. I don't understand how that computes, but apparently that makes me a traitor. They said that was weird and I must be a traitor. And I was like, you guys, think about Laura Harvey's brain and who she would make a traitor. It wouldn't be me.
Well,
I'm out of the game.
So Lynn's out of the game. If you don't know what we're talking about, the Seattle Rain posted this video. The team emulated the Traitors game. It was very funny. Spoiler alert, Lynn gets out first. She should have listened to her friend Sam.
Okay, well, I got out first. Here's the thing. They feared me, but I also had influence because I pointed straight to JB, Jordan Bug, and I said, she's a traitor. And everybody was like, you're right. She's also a traitor. And I had no anything.
You got to get rid of the threats. Why do you think that they voted out Wes and Boston Rob?
I don't know who those people are. But that's exactly why they voted out Lynn and Jordan, I guess.
Well, if anybody's wondering what is new with me and why I have no stories to tell at the top of this podcast, it is simply because all I do is watch different TV shows and make different soups. And I've already talked about all those things. So,
oh my gosh. You know what we should talk about is Love is Blind. Have you watched that?
I watch it to fall asleep to it, so I don't know anybody's name.
What?
I know. We have different tastes.
We got to get back together.
We do have to. We have to get ourselves back together. This is unacceptable. Good news is I do think that I am going to be seeing you soon. No spoilers, everybody, but something's cooking.
Oh, it's your soup. You're cooking your soup.
Soup's cooked and other things are cooking. Let's move on because I feel like this was a very weird start to what ultimately is destined to be a very weird show. The NWSL season is finally here. Lucky for us, we have a current NWSL player on staff, on call 24/7 for the women's game, Lynn. How are you feeling about the NWSL season?
I'm so excited. This preseason has felt like it's been so long. I feel like we're in July already. So I cannot wait.
What are you most excited about?
Playing soccer games. Just like the competition. I think in preseason, at some point, you're just like overplaying yourselves. You just want a different picture. Like, what is somebody else going to bring out that you need to like solve, or what are we doing well? Just like a new challenge, as well as like connecting with the fans. I think being in a new place, in a new environment, seeing what Seattle's all about, I think it's going to be exciting.
I know. Well, I actually want to talk a lot about connecting with fans later in this podcast, but I want to start us off with a little preview to the season that we got on Friday with the Challenge Cup. The Challenge Cup was a rematch of the NWSL Championship from last season between Orlando and Washington. And there was a trophy on the line. The very first game of the season, trophy up for grabs. And the game went into penalty kicks. Another spoiler alert here, everybody. The Washington Spirit got their revenge from the 2024 final. They beat defending NWSL Shield and championship winners, the Orlando Pride. So I want to talk about the game, Lynn. What was the highlight for you?
The highlight for me would definitely have been Lacey Santos' goal, because that thing was incredible. It was sick. So in the 72nd minute, Colombian midfielder took a direct free kick, and she placed this ball like so perfectly in the upper 90. Like I don't know how she did it. It was so far out as well. And I love free kicks because you just have to be so precise. I have tried to take free kicks before, and I sky them over the goal. So,
I know. Same. Or I nail them into the wall at their kneecaps.
Exactly. Like, So I just think that was like an amazing way to tie up the game, which obviously sent them into PKs. And it was just my highlight of the game. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was overall like a pretty evenly matched game. I felt like when Orlando scored first, they then like gained some momentum and started playing a little bit more like how we would expect. I just think overall, yes, there was some momentum shifts. The game was just a little bit disjointed, and I think that's to be expected for both teams' very first game of the season. A couple players did stand out to me. I thought Ali Watt looked dangerous for Orlando. She drew the foul that led to Orlando's free kick. There was a deflection, and then Brazilian defender Rafaeli finished it. It was actually a great finish. Players rushing at her. The ball was kind of bouncing, and she was patient, and she was able to bury that one. I thought it was a really great finish. I think that overall, again, both teams will be exciting this year. I don't think it was anybody's best product on day one. But there are a few emerging storylines that I have gathered from fan reactions to the game. One being the Washington Spirit's revenge from last season. So Dope commented on Instagram, "I'm happy we got revenge, but so bad wish this was last November." And then the other storyline is kind of like the strength of Washington's roster. Rebecca_EL said, "Calling it now. We're getting the Challenge Cup, the Shield, and the championship this season. Try and stop the Spirit." Lynn, I do feel like Washington pulling off this win, despite having some high-profile players missing from the field, like Trinity Rodman, Croy Bethune, Andy Sullivan, in general, like, does speak to their strength as a team. Do you, again, this is hard to ask because you are also a current player in this league, but Washington does have a deep roster. Like, that's pretty, like, apparent.
Okay, well, first of all, Rebecca, I take that personally. Considering that I'm not on that team. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think they have a deep roster. I think that to be able to perform against Orlando, who is pretty much bringing back their same roster from last year, and like you said, you're missing Croy, you're missing Andy, no Trin, you would have to think that they're a team, those people that have been able to step up and fill those roles. Those are big roles to fill. And I think that, I mean, you could speak to this as well. Any team that I've been on that's been successful has a deep bench and can always go to the bench when called upon. So that should be exciting to play against.
Yeah, the Spirit, again, overall looking strong, missing some players. Did you see that Hal Hirschfeld broke her medal in Lynn Williams style from the Olympics?
I did. I'm like, we don't need to start that trend, but it is hilarious. Like, they need to make the medals better.
That's what I've been saying since day one, Lynn.
The soccer girls are breaking the medals, and they need to at least reinforce ours.
Yeah, you guys need like titanium reinforced ribbons.
Or we need to take welding classes. So weld them back together.
The other thing I do want to mention, and this one might sting a little bit again, Lynn, but Aubrey Kingsbury came up big in the penalty kick save and saved a penalty kick and kind of sealed the deal for the Spirit.
Yeah, I think that is also something to be talked about in moments where you need your keepers to come up big. I think about like Alyssa Nair on the world stage, and now Aubrey in the NWSL. I think that is something that as a player, if there is a game that is challenging where you fight and you scrap and you're able to get a point and you know you're going to PKs, to be able to have a keeper in goal where you back them 100% and you feel confident in them, I think that is like very special to have as well. So again, congrats to her.
Let's talk about Orlando, who almost went undefeated last year. They were Shield winners. They were championship winners. And Lynn, as former Shield and championship winners ourselves in 2018 and 2019 with the North Carolina Courage, Orlando's definitely feeling the pressure coming into this season. Do you think that this pressure position is a good place for them to be in and will force them to like rise to the challenge? Or is it actually daunting to kind of think like we have to do all of that all over again and also we have this huge target on our backs?
Ooh, I think if I'm in their locker room, I'm thinking that this is going to be a challenge, but it's exciting. I know anybody who is an OG NWSL fan is going to hate when I say the word underdog, but I think in North Carolina, obviously it got to the point where we were not the underdogs, but we always had that like mentality. And I think that Orlando does have that mentality because of their history. They got that dog in them.
They sure do.
Because of the history of their team. And I think that's what made them so successful last year, is obviously bringing together really good pieces, but believing in themselves and always feeling like they're the underdogs. I watched the first episode for The Win.
For The Win, which is the Amazon Prime docuseries that just came out about the NWSL playoffs last season.
Correct. And somebody said something like, we always have to, on Orlando, we have to always do more to stay relevant in this league. Which, again, as somebody who was like, you guys were the most relevant last year, made me like think of when we kept saying in our heads, like, we're the underdog, we're the underdog.
You just got to be a little bit Delulu.
A little Delulu.
You got to be.
And I think that will probably serve them great, where they're going to be like, no, we still have to fight and show this league that we're Orlando. But I also think it's going to be very interesting knowing the style that they play. Can they keep that style up? And will the rest of the league like change their style of play when they're facing them? It kind of reminds me of somebody when they like go into their sophomore season.
Will they have a sophomore slump or a sophomore jump? Do I just speak in sports one-liners now? Is that who I've become?
I was gonna say, did you just make that up?
Like, I didn't make up the expressions, but I did just think of it like right this second.
You're crazy.
I know. Okay. So Orlando, yes, they have a great mentality, but they did just lose, and they are not used to losing. How do you think they'll like respond to this? Do you think that they're all sad that they lost the Challenge Cup and that it will affect their next game? Or do you think this is just kind of like they have this mentality, so they're going to just recover and like focus up, squad?
I want to know what you think, because I have a couple of things.
I think they're going to be fine. I think that they have a lot of experience. Marta, for example. They have a lot of talent. And yes, they're not used to losing. They did not lose a lot last year. But I think that what it sounds like to me, especially in my experience watching the docuseries for The Win, it does sound like they view themselves as a team who've been through a lot. And I actually think that like losing early in the season can be the best fuel and the best motivation, because they'll see people's response and they'll be like, everybody doubts us all the time. And I think that they'll actually like use that. They strike me as a team that's like gonna get mad about it and then come out swinging.
Ooh, danger. I agree.
I love how we just like keep like kind of making fun of each other's answers and then like moving on.
I know. I don't know what's happening. What I was going to say is I think that there's like so much more added quote unquote pressure because it's a Challenge Cup and like there's money on the line and there's like a title and all this stuff. But in reality, it is a preseason match. And so I think that if you look at it that way, obviously, like, you want to go out there, you want to win, they're going to be disappointed. But if you're looking at it that way, like, there are so many things that they could take away from that game going into the season of, okay, where are we actually, and where do we stand? Where do we need to grow? What were we good at? And I think, to your point, that's going to piss them off, and they're going to say, we're not going to lose our first game, blah, blah, blah. We're going to come out swinging.
Ooh, danger. So I think my last question on this is the Challenge Cup. Like, if we can zoom out and be like, was this game meaningful? And was it as it's structured now as a preseason game between what's supposed to be the Shield winner and the championship winner from last season, was this a success for the league? Was this game good for the NWSL?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but historically, before the Challenge Cup existed, the two teams that were in the championship game used to play each other their first game of the season.
I think so.
And I think that was a really big, hyped up game. But you also have all these other games at the same time that are kind of taking away the attention of that. And so to be able to have this one-off, one-set game where all the attention is on it, I do think is a good thing, because people are like, we want a rematch. We want revenge. That's my personal take. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways this was a success. I think it hyping up the revenge, the rematch from last year is great. I also think that, like, going straight into PKs is like kind of a give the people what they want situation. Like, hate PKs as a player. As a fan, there's kind of nothing that gets you more on the edge of your seat. Lacey Sanchez's free kick goal was like pleasing to the eye, if you will. So I think in a lot of ways it was a success. I think the Challenge Cup is taken a little bit lightly, just in general, because there doesn't have that much history or weight to it. But I think that with games like this, with performances like this, like, the history will grow. And I hope that someday this is like a really, really prestigiously felt cup. Like, I'm not taking anything away from the Spirit, who won, and it's awesome. And, like, imagine if they win 3 trophies this year. Like, that would be so sick. But I just think as time goes on, if we want to have our competitions be really meaningful and hold a lot of weight, we need to give them time.
I agree.
I want to talk more about how Orlando can take their on-field success and translate it into having more fans fill their stadium. That's going to be our main topic, Lynn, when we get back from this break. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Let's look ahead to this weekend. It's the first weekend of NWSL regular season action, and we've got some incredible matchups to kick us off. The first one I want to touch on is Gotham versus Reign. Lynn, old team versus new team. How does it feel to be taking the field against your former team?
Everybody keeps asking me that.
Yeah.
So that's a great question, Samantha. Honestly, I think that anybody who is not on my team that's on the steps onto the pitch is an enemy. So it could be Gotham, it could be Portland, it could be Utah, it could be anybody. So that's how I feel about playing them, is that they're the enemy when we're playing against them.
If you're not with me, you're against me.
Exactly.
Have you been texting anybody? Like, are you keeping communication lines open, or is it pure, like, it's over between us?
Oh, you think if I texted Rose or Sonnet, they would even respond to me, even if it wasn't about soccer? No.
I know. I need to take one brief minute and, like, put sick and tired right here in this block, because, like, I am sick and tired of Rose Lavelle not answering my text messages.
My sister got an English bulldog, a little baby puppy, and I sent a picture to Rose thinking, this is going to cheer her up. I don't even know if she's in a bad mood, but this is going to cheer up. It's going to bring joy to her day. No response.
No. Should we just call her right now?
Yes. Yeah, get her on that line. Oh my God, she answered. That's crazy.
It's me and Lynn recording Good Vibes. We just wanted to call to prove that you don't answer either of us, but then you answered.
Gotcha.
If we texted you, though, admit that you wouldn't have answered.
Well, we'll never know.
Well, we will, because I've texted you multiple times and you have not.
No, I can't admit that, because I think I would have.
Tell her what I said.
Oh, you can't hear Lynn, can you? She's in my headphones.
Haley.
Hello.
Sam, she says hello. Okay, we have
no,
work to do.
Well, tell her that I said we do know because I have texted her.
Lynn says she does know because she sent you a picture of the dog. That's her sister's English bulldog, and you didn't answer.
Hold on, let me look. Aww.
Honestly, get out of here.
God.
Too little, too late, Rose.
What's his name?
Her name is Ruby.
No, I texted. I responded.
Look, now she's responded.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's safe to say, Lynn, that you are not texting a lot of the Gotham girlies.
Well, I'm trying.
Actually, you are, but they are not answering. Maybe they've written you off as an enemy as well. Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Probably.
Okay, so last question on Gotham. Does this matchup feel fresh to you, or do you feel like totally adjusted to your new team?
I think that I have, because I've moved so many times, and I think honestly being on the national team helps as well, where you're always playing against like former teammates or friends or all of that stuff, that being able to like compartmentalize has helped. I think that if this was my first ever move, then it would be heightened a little bit of like, how are they going to receive me after the game? Do I go up to the coach? And like all of those little things can creep into your mind. But right now I'm more excited to just like step onto the field and play with Seattle.
Well, that sounds very healthy and normal. So Gotham will be traveling to play Seattle on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. A couple of other headline games I'm looking forward to are Houston versus the Spirit, which is primetime on Friday night, and will debut what TWG has really been featuring as Houston's glow up. Houston has a new head coach, Fabrice Guttraw, plus Yasmin Ryan, Delaney Sheehan, Danielle Colaprico, Messiah Bright, Abby Smith, plus all of the great players that they had last year. So I'm excited to see Houston matched up so early in the season against one of the top teams in the league in the Spirit. Lynn, do you think some of those players I just named, like Yasmin Ryan, Delaney Sheehan, your former Gotham teammates, can help Houston have a better season than has been typical of the Dash in recent years?
100%. I think that this year we're going to see a whole different Houston. I think you're going to see a different style of play. They obviously have Fabrice as their coach. In the past or in recent years, they've been through so many different coaches and kind of had to lead themselves out on the pitch and figure it out just collectively. So having a coach and a leader doing that for them, as well as, like you said, Yasmin Ryan, Delaney Sheehan, Danny Calaprico, they're all pretty veterans in the league now, I would say, and their ability and expertise to come in and hopefully change things around, I think is going to be super helpful. I also think that Abby Smith being a backup to Jane, when there's moments where Jane might have to step out for international duty, having a second keeper come in and be able to fill that role and knowing that you're going to be okay back there as well, I think is vital and hugely important and is a little bit overlooked.
For sure. I even think, and I mentioned this briefly, but like Diana Ordonez, remember when she had that incredible season with the Courage? She's also on Houston. Michelle Alozzi is on Houston. I think that Houston really could get it together this year, and I'm really excited to see how they can make that happen. The other game I want to highlight is the SoCal rivalry. This game is on Sunday between San Diego and Angel City. And I'm highlighting this game, Lynn, because I'm going to the game in person.
Oh my gosh, are you?
Yeah, sure am.
Were you excited? Like, what are you looking forward to?
I'm so excited. I've only ever been to one game at BMO Stadium. That's what the kids are calling it these days. But I was a player who could not play. So I was watching from upstairs. And even from there, I could tell what an incredible environment it was. So I'm excited to experience it now as a fan. And this is really like what I wanted to get into today for this episode is the fan experience of the NWSL, both as a viewer when you're watching on TV and then also like in person at games. So I'd love to start with what's working for the NWSL. What do you think makes this league so appealing to fans?
Parity. I think we talk about that a lot. I think that knowing that you're going to go to a game and in the best way, it's going to be pure chaos. Like,
yeah, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. The last place team could beat the first place team. You're going to see people giving it their all, laying their bodies on the line. And then I also think we have a lot of big names here. Yeah. So I think that there are moments where you can go to a national team game U.S. national team game, but also international game as well. And you might not be able to see the players up close and personal. And this is a moment you can do that. Maybe you can't go to a Brazilian game, but you can see Debinha right here in the NWSL, you know?
I completely agree. I think that the other thing that really hooks fans is feeling like they kind of know and are friends with the players. And I think the reason I think that is because when I'm watching games, I like need to pick out somebody I know or somebody's story that I know and be like, this is who I'm rooting for. This is why I care about this team winning or this player doing well. And I feel like the combination of, you know, feeling like we know her and being a huge star is Trinity Rodman, because she's so open on her social media with the fans. She gives us so much of herself. And I think that women athletes having to do that is a different issue. But I do feel like in this instance, it's so beneficial to fans feeling engaged in the game and fans wanting to watch on TV, wanting to watch Trinity Rodman every single week, wanting to go out to stadiums and watch her play. And I feel like telling players stories and like lowering the barrier to just being athletes running around on the field, but being people is like a really important way that can engage fans more.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I also think when you look at Angel City, for example, the experience that you get when you go to that game is different than, let's say, Houston, which has been historically a market that has struggled. So at Angel City, it's not just going to get to know the fans or promoting to young girls. And I'm not saying stop promoting to the youth, because that's who's going to be the future of this game. But you're going because you're going to have a really cool experience, and it's going to be like an outing for you. And as a young adult or an older adult, being able to be like, I'm just going to go enjoy this moment, kind of like a concert. Like you're looking at it as an entertainment event.
For adults.
I think that
adult entertainment.
Oh my gosh. But I think that like that is definitely something that I'm hoping the league is leaning towards more, is just like people that go to Angel City games might not always love or know the most about soccer, but they know they're going to have a fun time. And then they start watching and they're like, oh my gosh, this is actually really entertaining. This is so much fun. And then you get to know the person. And if you like combine that with also telling people stories, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I actually specifically want to talk more about Angel City, but a couple examples of that storytelling that I think makes fans feel really connected is like, I remember specifically towards the end of last season, Tara McKeown told this story after the game where she cried and said that she missed her sister's wedding and she had scored a goal and it was this like beautiful moment. And I genuinely think that when fans went from like, oh my gosh, here is this player who's been playing great for the Spirit all year, but maybe wasn't nationally recognized as one of the top players in the league. And when she like told this beautiful story and like broke down and everybody went, oh my God, she's human. I know somebody just like her. Can you imagine missing your sister's wedding? We talked about it on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think that like lowered this barrier to like, well, I'm going to root for her now. I like her. That was such an incredible moment. Like I feel this connection. And then my other example is we keep referencing this docuseries For the Win, but it's like the opportunity to storytell in the media is like making players like Mary Speck, who have been in the year for 10 years, have this story that people feel like they're now a part of. And people are going to cheer for Mary now more than ever because so many people are getting exposed to what she's been through in the league, what she's like as a person, what she means to the courage. And I just think that I keep talking about it as like the lowering of a barrier, but it's this like entry into knowing somebody. And I think that that's what really feels engaging for fans of women's sports.
Well, I think it's just coverage. It's just media coverage. I think that, not to get into the men's side, but I think that like you see that all the time. Like there's just so much more coverage. So you hear about what the men are doing or what they've gone through or what their personal lives are. And we just don't have that yet in the women's game because the coverage isn't there. So I completely agree. This kind of reminds me of Lil Baby, my favorite rapper. And I say that because
such a good example, Lynn.
It's my favorite rapper because I watched a documentary on him and I was like, his story is incredible. And I can't believe he's gone through all that and changed his life. And now he's my favorite rapper. And so I think it's the same thing. It's just like, how can we have more coverage of women and tell the story? So I don't know if necessarily it's, in my opinion, like lowering a barrier. I just think it's, what more can we do? Like, how can we get people out there? Because as of right now, I think that we just retell the same stories over and over and over again.
We do.
So fans know Trinity's story, and it's an amazing story, but we know her story, and we know my story, and we know your story. You know what I mean? And it's like, Tara's story hasn't been out there. Let's tell it.
We got to get her on the pod.
Yeah, Mary Speck's story hasn't been out there. Like,
we got to get her on the pod.
Got to get her on the pod.
I totally agree, Lynn. And I love that you're saying that, because historically there have been way less opportunities. And now with this kind of boom in media around the NWSL, exactly like what we're doing here on Good Vibes and on our other show, Friendlies, like, we do have those opportunities to tell more of these stories. And so I guess it's kind of a plug for ourselves. Like, I guess my whole discussion point today was basically like, we're telling the stories over here, everybody. So listen in.
Watch and listen.
Okay. You mentioned Angel City as one of the teams doing a really good job with kind of fan experience. And I feel like your point partly was like, let's make sure that we're not only marketing to youth teams and to kids, but to adults who have spending power, who decide what they do with their money. They're going to go and they're going to buy a drink and a meal and a jersey and tickets, and that's like kind of a good business idea, and Angel City is doing a great job of it. I do want to talk about, like, obviously watching on TV is much easier. I know everybody's going to be like, well, you try getting all the subscriptions, and it's like, I know everybody, it is a fiasco, but you can check out our graphic that we put up every week that tells you exactly where to watch the games. Another plug for TWG. Let's talk about going to an event in person, a concert, a game, whatever. Like, what makes you want to get up out of the house and, like, go do something?
I don't know. There's just like an energy and a vibe that you can't really describe. The only way that I can like try to describe it is like a concert. Like it's the difference between like sitting at home and listening to your Spotify or going out and
singing Taylor Swift in unison at the stadium full of people. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's like, it's community.
Yeah.
You feel like connected to everybody watching and rooting for the same thing. There is like a energy about good or bad feelings of, I think that even if you went to a game where your team lost, you still feel part of that community and part of that energy. I don't know. Yeah. Help me out here. Like,
no, I completely agree. You know what? I actually hired some other help to help us out here. Two of our producers here at the women's game are were Angel City season ticket holders. And I wanted to talk specifically about why Angel City's environment and fan experience is so special. So I asked them, as adults, like, why do you get out of your house and go to Angel City games? And they gave me a list. They said, one, that Angel City's environment feels like safe, inclusive. It is family friendly, but I think that like the safety and the kind of, like, I'm going to say loving environment. I put those words in their mouth, but like, I'm comparing it to like an NFL game where like sometimes you go and there's like a lot of drinking and it's like raucous and like maybe a fight breaks out and like maybe not, but there's kind of like an edge there. Do you know what I mean? So they said it feels really safe, which I love. Everybody's welcome. Then they said that Angel City puts a lot of work into the pregame environment. There's usually like a fan fest with vendors, giveaways, face painting, temporary tattoos, hair dyeing. That sounds like stuff for kids, but you know, it can be fun. I would get my face painted. That sounds fun.
I think that that's important though. Like, and that's part of it. It's like bringing your kids, having an activity for them to do. Kids are rowdy. They can watch the game, but they also sometimes get antsy.
Yeah, and they just want to go do stuff. So kind of making the game feel like an all-day activity, which sounds super fun. Then they said that BMO Stadium is conveniently located and nice. It's like in the heart of the city. You can take public transit with other fans. So there's this community element as you like watch the other fans like board the train. Do they call it the train in LA? I have no idea. But it also is so conveniently located that like you can bring a friend along that otherwise wouldn't normally go. And they're just like, oh yeah, I'll just like hop on the public transportation and like get over there. It's like in a good location.
Yeah. Location I think is important when you're putting a stadium anywhere.
Yeah, like otherwise there's this huge barrier to entry and you're like, well, I'm not going to plan my whole weekend around getting out to far away land, you know?
Yeah.
Also, the food is good. There's merch for sale. It makes the experience to see everybody in head to toe gear. And then they also said, Lynn, that they used to do this, a sunset roof party after the game. And it was like very chill. And like you just kind of go up there to this sunset roof party. Sometimes the players and the coaches would come up. And there's just like, it's just this like community post-game chill hang.
Yeah, well, I think that that's part of it too. Like usually if you go to a concert or you go to anything, you're like doing something before and then you're probably doing something after depending on how long it's been and how rowdy the event was, right? So like before, I'm just putting this in concert terms, but like you would hang out with your friends. You would probably drink a little bit, go to the concert, hang out after. And that's like the same thing with a football match is you would hang out, maybe get a dinner before, go to the game, get drinks after, have a good time. I also think, and maybe this is just the soccer player in me, there's something really cool about seeing the stadium itself. I'm like, some of the stadiums are really cool architecturally where you're like, whoa. Like I think of the Bay Area, having that long bar right out on the field side is cool.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
Anyways, get out to the games is what we're saying. It's fun.
So yes, get out to the games. We completely agree. I do need to know, Lynn, and this is our Olipop Gut Check of the week. I have a root beer today. I've been just absolutely parching myself waiting to open this. So please excuse me while I take a deep sip.
Chug, 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 chug. Okay, or sip.
What are your requirements for like going and getting out of the house and like going to a game or a live event? Like what's the one thing you like need to happen?
Probably convenience, good weather. It doesn't even need to be good weather, but like when I'm at the event, can I be under something that I'm not getting wet?
Okay.
What about you?
I was going to say the food.
Good weather and a little treat.
Good weather and a little treat. I was going to say the food. I think if I'm leaving the house, I'm getting a meal out of it or else. And like, honestly, this is going to come off like a little bit snobby, but like, I also want to have a nice drink. Like, I don't just want like the generics. I want a thoughtful meal curated with a nice drink.
I want good music. You can take me anywhere if there's good music.
Also, Lynn, my last requirement, I will not sit in a line of traffic on the way out, or I'm not going.
So you need it easily accessible in and out.
Yeah, I basically just need to like go out to dinner in Burlington, and that's my only outing because that's where I know I'll get good food and a good drink and have no traffic on the way out.
Okay. So Sam's not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. I pretty much don't go anywhere.
I was just thinking like, what is something that's going to get me out? And only thing that I could pop into my brain is the time me, Marley, and Rose decided to go to an Inter Miami game at Red Bull. And we knew Messi wasn't playing and it was pouring and we still went.
That's just a bad decision. You know that if I had been there, we wouldn't have gone. Do you remember the night of Kelly's retirement party when Gotham had a game and then you all thought we were going to go to the WNBA finals and then go to Kelly's retirement party? And I said, no, we're not.
I could have made it.
No, you couldn't have. Logistics are not your strong suit.
Yes, I could have because it went into overtime. And that is our Olipop Gut Check of the week.
Let us know in the comments. What are your requirements for a night out?
Every friendship has one of me and every friendship has one of you.
And honestly, we bring out the best in each other. There is literally so much more we could have gotten into with the requirements for leaving the house and the NWSL season, but we simply do not have time. But I do have good news, everybody. We recorded a Sammy Banana Phone NWSL preview to dive even deeper into the major storylines heading into the season. That episode is going to come out tomorrow, so be sure to listen wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to take a quick break. Lynn and I are going to try not to break up our friendship. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Vibes FC. All right, it's time for our women's game weekly updates where we cover all the other news from around the soccer world that you need to know. FIFA has announced that the inaugural Women's Club World Cup will take place in 2028, not 2026 as originally planned, and will feature 16 teams from the world's major federations. FIFA said that the goal is to give the world's top clubs the platform they deserve to compete against the best and put the women's club game in the global spotlight.
I think that this is pretty important as somebody who played in the qualifiers for this. When it was announced and then immediately playing, we had so many games that were far in 1 month. And I think that we had like 3 back-to-back 3-game weeks while you're also trying to play your club games. And so to be able to delay this to actually do real preparation and planning is
a good
important. It's a great thing.
I did read that one of the reasons they are delaying it is to like better plan the match calendar over concerns for, you know, players playing in too many games. So I know everybody hates everything FIFA does, but I actually do think that delaying this is the right move.
Yeah.
This weekend, we got to see the quarterfinals of the FA Cup in England, which included wins for Chelsea, Man United, Man City, and an upset, Liverpool. Lynn, last week we were talking about this tournament like it was English soccer's version of March Madness. So as bummed as Arsenal fans may be, it was kind of nice to see an upset by the 6th place team, Liverpool. Hopefully they can bring that momentum to their semifinal match against Chelsea.
That's very exciting. I can't remember back in the day who I picked as my team, but go March Madness soccer.
Moving closer to home with the NWSL, the league unveiled their latest high-profile sponsor, Unwell Hydration, a new beverage from Alex Cooper, NWSL fan and host of the podcast Call Her Daddy. Alex was at the Challenge Cup game on Friday, and hopefully this means she'll be at more NWSL matches this season. I'm kind of fangirling this one.
I know, this is great. I think this is women supporting women, and I love that.
Okay, Alex, we love you. Bay FC released plans for a state-of-the-art training facility that they hope will be open before the 2027 NWSL season. However, the announcement was slightly overshadowed by news that came days later, which revealed that the league would be investigating claims that the Bay coaching staff, including head coach Albertine Montoya, created a toxic work environment for players. As reported by Melanie Anzidi and Meg Linehan at The Athletic, Bay FC player Tess Bodie expressed confidence in Bay FC's processes for handling the situation. She said, "This has been handled exactly how it should. I don't think it should be, quote, no complaints come up. I don't think that's ever a truly achievable goal. A high-performing, high-achieving environment, there are always things that can be better." I feel like my reaction to this, Lynn, is obviously hoping that this investigation allows every player and staff member to feel safe and heard by the club. But I really like the way that Tess framed this. It sounds like the mechanisms in place are actually doing their job, identifying and addressing issues that will make the environment better.
I agree. I think that we get caught up in headlines all the time, and I hope that nothing comes out of this investigation for the players' sake, for the staff's sake. But like we said, the mechanisms in place are doing their job, and that's what's most important.
Definitely. Let's go over to the inbox. We got an email from Katie that says, "Hi, Sam, Lynn, and Becky. I was watching For the Win." Oh my gosh, we've got another For the Win watcher. Are we just For the Win plugs over here? Okay, back to Kate. "I was watching For the Win last night and died listening to Sam and everyone talk about working regular 9 to 5. As someone who does work a very boring office job and gets through it by listening to the show as I work, the trick is to meal plan like crazy and schedule all your errands for the weekend. My question is, if you guys had not pursued professional soccer, what kind of job could you see yourself doing? Did you have a dream job other than soccer when you were growing up or a plan B when you were in college? Love the show and have loved watching all 3 of you thriving on and off the field. Thank you, Katie." Dream job or a plan B? Do you actually want to hear a funny story?
I do.
In literally the opposite of who I am to my core, but I guess maybe not. I notoriously went on the record being like, if you want to make the national team, you can't have a plan B.
Oh.
I know. It was crazy. And then naturally, obviously, when you and I started doing the podcast together, not that was a plan B, but it was this kind of like, you know, maybe I'll have another career after this because obviously I can't do this forever. And thank God I also did that. So is podcasting my dream job?
So Sam didn't have a dream job besides playing soccer. That's what I'm hearing.
I literally didn't.
Okay, you want to hear another funny story?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I was up for this award, and we would go through all your accolades and then what you want to do in the future. And I had no idea. So I was like, I want to be a doctor. And that thing popped up on the board, and my family looked at me and was like, what are you talking about? And then I just said, I don't know.
So doctor?
My dream job was figure it out as I go, I guess.
That is so Lynn. That is so Lynn of you. Katie, what a great question. I'm sorry that we didn't have better answers, but I did recently interview Tierna Davidson, and did you know that she wanted to be an astronaut?
I did know that.
You did? I don't think I knew that about her.
I think you did. You just forgot. I feel like if Becky was here, she would have given a better answer.
What do you think she would have said?
A gamer. She probably was like a programmer.
I was going to say a video game tester.
I want to do like things with like crafts.
You know what I actually literally could have been as an art teacher?
There's still time.
I don't actually really like kids that much.
An adult art teacher.
That exists. I could be an adult art teacher. I can't draw, but like I have an artistic spirit, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I want to like do what I do now minus the soccer. So like go to lunch.
Go to lunch and podcast once a week. Every other week.
Yeah, and like talk to people, socialize. I want to be a professional socializer.
I don't want to be a professional socializer. I just want to socialize when it's healthy for me to socialize because I don't like leaving the house that much.
Me neither.
Remember when Kelly O'Hara was like, I want to take, like, for work, I just want to have lunch meetings. And I thought that was so smart. It's like you have your morning, you do your workout, you walk the dog, you catch up on maybe like an email or two, or we get your life organized, get your taxes done, etc. Go out to lunch, have a meeting. Meeting ends, have a glass of wine at lunch, go home, maybe walk the dog again, maybe clean up the kitchen, prepare dinner. That's a good job.
That's a great job.
So who's hiring?
Are we so spoiled?
Oh my God, yeah. Obviously. That's not what I do, by the way. I do have a job. I'm just saying, we're talking dream job.
I also have a job, yeah.
I know. So no, we're not spoiled. We're talking dream job, Lynn.
My dream job is to win the lottery. And I've always wanted that since I was a child.
I believe that more so than I believe that you wanted to be a doctor. Okay, we need to move on. And just as exciting as this email from you, Katie, which I loved so much, we're on to our favorite segment with Lynn, which I really am trying to make a thing. Like, nobody has told me that this is a good segment except myself every week. And that's sick and tired.
And I'm sick and tired.
This is the segment where Lynn gets to complain about something right before we shower our listeners with good vibes and love. Lynn, tell us what you're sick and tired of this week.
Moving. I'm sick and tired of moving.
No, you said that last week.
Did I? Well, it's still happening. It's still happening.
You literally said that last week.
Oh, well, let me tell you.
Did you write this down?
Yeah.
Here? I thought it was left over from last week.
I thought it was living out of a suitcase.
It's the same thing, Liz.
It's really not, because right now, you want to know what I'm doing? This is actually what I'm sick and tired of.
You're going to get this segment axed from the show.
Let me tell you what I'm sick and tired of right now. It's like moving moving is the umbrella and there's things under it. So last week was living out of a suitcase. Now I'm in the house, and what I'm annoyed with is the builders, the internet, the everything, because my address, so the house that I'm in now used to be one house, a single family home. They demolished that and built 4 townhomes on it. Well, each townhome has its own address. And so when I go online to do mail forwarding or do my internet or sign up for a utilities account, my address doesn't come up because it's not connecting. And so I have to keep going. Like I tried to get internet today and I was on the phone for an hour, and they sent me back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to everybody. And now they keep saying, call back in 2 days. We got to put it backlog in our system. I'll call 2 days. Same thing happens. So I'm like, how on earth am I supposed to get internet? Just figure out the address. That's what I'm sick and tired of. Anyway, so the good vibe of the week.
I'm sick and tired of that for you, for the record. Okay, everybody, we're going to be really sad when this episode is over, because I do really love being here and doing this with everybody. So much so that I want to leave our listeners with a good vibe. I actually have such a fun, great story, and it actually ties into me being an adult art teacher. But basically, 1 mile away from my house, there is this production pottery studio, and I have infiltrated with my loving ways to do a work trade program with the owner where I do light chores around the studio. And by light, I do not mean light. I do manual labor around the studio in exchange for pottery. I get to do pottery.
That's amazing. Like a wheel? Like
on a
you're
wheel.
throwing?
Yep. And hand building. I have made 5 to 6 items. I have also mopped the floors. I have laid out reclaimed clay. I have washed buckets in the sink. I have done etc. types of things. It's the most fun thing ever. Like every day that I get to go, I just put my headphones in and I do my chores like snow freaking white, and then I make pottery. And I can't believe I got so lucky to find this place and find a person that was willing to let me do manual labor for her.
There's a place in Fremont, Seattle, that you can do pottery and coffee. So we should go.
Can we go?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my good vibe. Genuinely, I'm not being funny. I'm so excited about it. It's been so much fun. And I think it's just really feeding my inner art teacher who has not been, seen enough in my lifetime.
She's been dormant.
She's been asleep. And now she's just blossoming awake. And you, Lynn, what's your good vibe?
Me and my mom went to this wine bar. It was just really nice to be able to have a one-on-one time with my mom and have a meal and a glass of wine. I feel like we don't get to do that enough or often at all. And so that's my good vibe, is just really appreciating my mom's ability to come here and hang out with me.
That is so, so sweet, Lynn. I love that.
Thank you.
And I also just want to say that I also love my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, mamas.
All right, that's it, everybody. That's it for this week's episode of Good Vibes FC. Please make sure that you are subscribed on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe on YouTube because we're also on there. Follow along with us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, all the social medias at Women's Game MIB. We're going to let you go now, everybody.
I'm Lynn Biyendolo.
And I'm Sam. We love you so much.